Hey guys, what's up? My name is Sam. I'm from First to 11, and today we're going to be talking about the new plugin from Sturgis Tones called Gain Reduction 2. So if you don't remember, Gain Reduction 1 that came out some time ago was a really cool vocal compressor. A lot of you guys have probably seen it before. It's just like a really popular vocal plugin. And now we have an updated version, Gain Reduction 2. And today we're just going to be taking a look at it in the context of a new First to 11 demo. So we're going to head on over to Logic, and right now we're just mixing a new song that First to 11 started writing. So we're in Logic right now, and just so you guys know, we don't have any crazy vocal setup going on. We have no outboard gear. We're just running straight from our AKG C214 right into our Scarlett 2i2, and we actually live by or record in a really busy street anyway, so there's a lot of microphone bleed anyway. Point is, this is kind of a really good way to show that Gain Reduction 2 is able to be used in home studio setups, even if you don't have the most ideal setup with tons of really fancy gear and anything. So we're gonna just pull up Gain Reduction 2, and we're gonna look up Gain Reduction 1 here, just so we can kind of look at the difference between the two. So Gain Reduction 1, we can see here, we just have a slay knob, body, gain, mix, lo-fi, input, output, and Gain Reduction 2, it's kind of like a vocal suite. So instead of loading in what you might have had with like 5 different plugins, you can kind of just use all in Gain Reduction 2. You can navigate through a lot of different things. So I'll kind of run you guys through what's new here. So the first thing we notice, we have the light and heavy mode. Heavy mode is just the normal Gain Reduction 1 compression algorithm, and then light mode is a softer, less saturated new compression algorithm. So we have our input knobs and our output knobs. So the input knob has a calibration feature which sets your input based on the incoming audio played back via a fixed threshold detection modeled circuit. And your output has this really cool saturation feature that will actually prevent it from clipping. We have a breath control here. This is more just acting like a gate, and we didn't really get that feature on Gain Reduction 1, so that's a really nice feature, and I'll show you guys exactly what that's doing. We have our warmth, which is kind of just like a tube saturator. We have our clarity. Clarity and our air are both kind of adding top end to our vocal, and I'm going to show you guys on an EQ exactly like how this is being analyzed. Our slay knob, which is just the amount of compression that's going on. We have our body, which is kind of just like a low pass filter, and then we have our sibilance knob, which is just a de-esser. So again, kind of like a vocal suite in a way that you don't just have to load in like your de-esser and then an EQ, and then you have to load in like your own saturation or whatever, and then a limiter. You can kind of just run everything that you want through Gain Reduction 2, and then theoretically run like your verbs and your delays after the fact. But pretty sweet that you can kind of just accomplish just about everything that you need with this one plugin. So let's take a listen. Here is just the full mix with no processing whatsoever. So this is just how the vocal came out by itself.
I'll give you my better night, just so I can say that living is a dangerous game. Can you even spell out my name?
Cool. So again, no processing whatsoever going on right now, but we are just gonna load up Gain Reduction 2, and here is kind of how it sounds just right out of the box.
I'll give you my better night, just so I can say that you stay.
So we can hear right out of the box, it sounds pretty good. There are a lot of presets on here, just on the default, with not a lot going on. Again, it still is at least giving us a lot of just character to this vocal.
I'll give you my better night, just so I can say that you stay.
So let's just talk about the light and heavy mode. We're just going to go through each of these parameters and just take a listen to what they're really doing on their own. So like I said, the light and heavy mode is really just the amount of compression that you're doing. In the light mode, it's just a little bit less aggressive. In the heavy mode, the vocal sounds like it's like 2 inches from your face. So
I'll give you my better night, just so I can say that you stay.
Cool. So I think the coolest part about Game Reduction 2 is the breath feature on here. So as you can see, I actually had like a somewhat edited version of this vocal where I just tried to strip silence it a little bit and take out a little bit of the dead space.
I'll give you my bed in LA.
But the cool thing, like I said, we were First 11 is recording right now in just a pretty it's no glamorous studio, I'll say. And so you can kind of hear in this recording, you can hear like the click from our singer's headphones, and like sometimes you can hear like cars and motorcycles drive by and like other bands practicing here. But this breath feature actually acts as a gate. So if we'll turn it all the way down, then we'll slowly dial it back up.
I'll give you my bed in LA. Just so I can say that you stayed. Craving is a dangerous game. Can you even spell my name?
So yeah, this feature's amazing. It takes a lot of the work out of your hands, just a lot of like the grunt work that goes into editing vocals, especially if you're just trying to get a really good sound on the fly. So let's keep playing around with these parameters and just see how they all sound. So, and I'm just going to go back and forth between soloing and then in a mix. You probably shouldn't be, relying too heavily in solo, but just so we can really get a better idea of what's going on here. So we're going to go around to the warmth. And again, the warmth is really just talking about a tube saturation that goes on in the vocal.
I'll give you my bed in LA.
One other thing I should mention, by the way, is this little graphic in the center. Whatever parameter that you're editing, it'll actually show you how much you're editing it. So if we're talking about like the warmth,
I'll give you my bed in LA.
you can see how much warmth you're really adding to it. But if we go to like the body control, which I mentioned is kind of just like a low pass filter, it'll give you a little graphic EQ.
I'll give you my bed in LA.
So yeah, we'll keep going around, but just thought I should point that out. So as we can see, we're getting a pretty useful vocal just with a few minutes of kind of messing around with this. And one other thing I really wanted to talk about is the presets that actually come with this. So again, just mixing on the fly. And again, I want to point out, this is the only plugin that we even have on our chain right now. This is not including any sort of like verbs or delays and any stock sounds that you can get with whatever DAW you're using. But let's go to another part of the song where we have some more vocals going on, like harmonies and ad-libs. Let's take a listen to these vocals. So this harmony right here, we're taking off all the processing. We're just going to throw on Game Reduction 2. So again, the default, right when you open it up.
Tell me if it's love or not. Tell me if it's love or not. Tell me if it's love or not.
So we can go to the presets here. We have factory presets, and I'm going to go through a few of these, but I remember one preset I really liked was this one called Dark Harmony. So again, this is just changing everything for you, and you have full range to just change the parameters once you're in a preset, but just for getting a good sound right out of the box, these presets are actually pretty useful.
Tell me if it's love or not.
So we're going to go between the lead vocal here, and we're just going to check out a few of these different presets that we have here. So again, taking off all the processing.
Tell me if it's love or not. 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 Tell me if it's love or not.
One more thing I'll point out is if we just open up an EQ, just for some analyzing.
Tell me if it's love or not. Tell me if it's love or not.
You can kind of see what's going to happen between the clarity control and the air control.
Tell me if it's love or not. Tell me if it's love or not. Tell me if it's love or not. Tell me if it's love or not.
So the air control is more so just controlling like more like the throaty kind of like robotic high end that's coming off of her vocals, and the clarity is just more of I would say less aggressive kind of top end that you're getting. But both controls used together are really useful. So that's just kind of playing around with some of the presets that you get with this, but ultimately this plugin has my seal of approval. I think it really works really well, and again, I didn't even really have to do any mixing to this, but if we just throw on like a little reverb or something and gain reduction too, it already comes out pretty stellar.
Tell me if it's love or not. Tell me if it's love or not. Tell me if it's love or not. Tell me if it's love or not.
Alright guys, well that's the end of the tutorial, and I hope you guys have a better idea of how to use gain reduction 2 now. I really love this plugin. I think anyone can use it, even if you're in a less than ideal home studio setup. You can get gain reduction 2 at joeysturgistones.com right now. It's on sale for $150, and I hope you guys get some good mixes out of it.